O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Monday, April 7th, 2025. Stand up for your country. Another turbulent day. Stock market all over the place. Don't look. don't look. So we've got it covered. All you got to do is watch and listen to us, and you'll know everything. We're not going to leave anything out, okay? I'm going to be on News Nation tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, and I'm trying to bring you some sanity to that audience, some of whom watch the No Spin News, but a lot of them don't really understand, what's going on in the big picture. We'll try to bring that in. The tariff dilemma is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo, and I hope you read my column, Make America Scared Again, which is free. Anybody can read it, BillO'Reilly.com. But that is a primer for this whole thing, okay? So over the weekend, there were 1,400 protests nationwide against Donald Trump. None of them had to do with the tariffs. This is an amazing story. And how do we know that? Well, the signs they're carrying, the T-shirts they're wearing, had to be made in advance. And remember, the stock market meltdown happened last Thursday, so they would never have gotten a chance to manufacture all this, to get the meetups. That takes place on the internet. Usually get a week in advance where they're going to meet up, who's going to be there, what groups are sponsoring, all that. So these protests didn't have to do with the tariffs. Now, there may be tariff protests down the road, but not this. So what were these people doing? I don't really know what they were doing, okay? So what are they against? Are they against controlling the border? Are they against deportation of foreign national criminals? Are they against trying to get peace in Ukraine and Gaza? Are they against exposing wasteful federal spending and cutting down bloated government? Are they against those things? If you are, then I want to know. Why? Okay, so I assume they don't know what they're against. They just hate Trump. And the socialists are out there and all that. The one issue that's got these, and they're 99% left-wingers, upset is the executive order against DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. They don't like that at all. Roll the tape.
I stand with many millions of Americans that want to see the end of a dictatorship that's starting to take away all of our democratic rights, fundamental institutions, jobs, health care, education, and everything else that we've come as Americans to love and appreciate.
All right, it's just gibberish. He doesn't know why he's out there, but his friends are out there, so he's out there. All right, let's segue into tariffs. So this is a very intense situation. That's the best word. Because as I'm going to tell you at the end of this program in a final thought, there's good reason for us to be apprehensive, us, the American public. There's a good reason. This is sprung out of nowhere. People did not anticipate that the Trump administration was going to enter into a trade war with the rest of the world. If they had anticipated, there would have been a sell-off months ago. But nobody did. That trade war was a mistake. Now, not in theory, as again, I'll refer back to my column. We've been getting hosed by foreign nations in trade ever since World War II. Okay, so that's a fact. But you can do these things in a different way. You don't have to just drop, boom, everything at once, and then everybody panics. All right. Now, the unintended consequences of the panic is an erosion of confidence in the Trump administration. Not by the MAGA people, the 35% that will support Trump no matter what he does. Okay? But that's not nearly enough to govern. Now, if Donald Trump's economic vision unfolds the way he says it will, he'll get by it. But if he doesn't, the midterms will be grisly for the Republican Party and for him. All right, a little history so you really understand this. I'm going to keep this simple. No pinhead stuff, all right? So in 1930, the nation was entering the Great Depression. 1929, the stock market collapsed. It collapsed because people were borrowing money to buy stocks. The stock market was roaring in the 1920s, the roaring 20s. And then when the stocks started to go down, which inevitably they always will, up and down, people couldn't pay back the loans. And boom, the banks started to foreclose and everything like that. Herbert Hoover, one of the worst presidents ever, if you read Confronting the Presidents, and I hope you did or will, puts tariffs up, all right, to protect the American economy, American manufacturing. And that was called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. Smoot-Hawley. Disaster. That made it worse. And then we went into a deep depression for almost 10 years till World War II. All right. Then, after World War II, the U.S. economy just surges because we're the victors. And we're supplying all of the materials to rebuild Europe and Japan, Marshall Plan. And we got to make them in America. I mean, it's like everybody's working, everybody's doing okay. JFK in 1961 says, I'm going to take over this tariff business. And the Constitution does give the President of the United States the power to control foreign commerce. The Congress doesn't have a say in it. So JFK pops it up. Then Congress passes the Trade Act of 1974. Okay? And that solidified presidential dominance in the tariff area. So that's why Trump can do what he wants. All right? Got it? Now, Donald Trump is, as I said, the biggest disruptor in presidential history. He has passed Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy's number 2 for taking on the monopolies. And he won. Teddy won. But boy, that was a rough one. And I write about that in Confronting Evil coming up in September. Anyway, Trump's a disruptor. And he wants to do everything now. And his blitzkrieg closed the border, shut the border down, very successful. The deportations, we don't know yet. Okay, but they're actively underway. Elon Musk, Doge, you know that. Boom, 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 boom. No easing in. This one, because there are so many nations involved, might have been better if we eased into it. Okay. I think that things are going to work out. I think. And that's the memo. So right before we went to air, do you know who Ursula von der Leyen is? I'd probably say no last name. Leyen. Ursula von der Leyen. She is the commissioner of the EU. Ursula. Brussels. She announces that the EU wants 0 for 0 tariffs, no tariffs, on either side. Big. As soon as she made the announcement, the stock market comes up. Just keep that in mind. Okay? So Ursula said, we don't want any of these tariffs now. We want to do away with all of them. Good. Good. Let everybody compete. Ursula, Donald Trump. Now if this happens, okay, and Ursula says chemicals, pharmaceuticals, rubber, plastic, machinery, and cars. No tariffs. Now, it'll be interesting to see how the hate Trump media, this is good for Trump, but caution, okay? This is just verbiage now. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff in there, but I'm just reporting what I know. The IRS is the largest collection agency in the world, and with April 15th fast approaching, their enforcement is already ramped up. So, if you owe back taxes or have unfiled returns, waiting is not an option. The smart move is to get ahead of this, but never contact the IRS alone. Let the experts at Tax Network USA do it for you. They have a preferred direct line to the IRS, so they know which agents to deal with and which to avoid. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, Tax Network USA can help. Their attorneys and negotiators have already resolved more than $1 billion in tax debt. Talk with their strategists today, free. Protect yourself from property seizures, bank levies. Please call 800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/bill. April 15th, right around the corner. Act now. All right, our YouTube channel, we are closing in on 1 million subscribers. We want you to help us out. It's free, youtube.com/Bill O'Reilly. And did you know that the tariffs are closing in on masculinity? This is great. So I'm going to deal with that on the YouTube channel. So one of these people is linking the tariffs, the stock market to masculinity. I love it. Wait till you see this. All right, let's go to the mail. Gary Gallowan, Winnipeg, Canada. What effect will President Trump's tariff have on Americans who live payday to payday? Only if the job market shrinks. So if you live payday to payday, you don't have any money to buy stocks. So the stock market fluctuations aren't going to affect you. But if the big companies get pounded and people stop buying their paper, then there are going to be layoffs. That's down the road. And that's how they would be affected, Gary. Bob Morrow, Baldwin, New York. Is it true that countries are actually raising their tariffs to counter the tariffs in the USA? Of course it's true. China, big. Raised it up there like 60%. Steve Anding, Brookhaven, Mississippi. Bill, thanks for all you do. Most of all, giving us the truth. My question, why does there have to be any tariffs? I don't understand why that is happening. Because smaller countries believe they are overwhelmed by America, which is huge and can produce much more stuff than they can. That's why there are tariffs. But the EU says maybe we don't need them. I hope that's right. I really do. Storm, a concierge member. Thank you, Storm. I hope you're enjoying it. Our country has experienced a repeat of Reagan's first year in office, cleaning up a mess left by Jimmy Carter. Remember how bad it was for Reagan having to deal with high interest rates, high industrial unemployment, taxes, along with major foreign policy mess. I don't think Biden caused this trade war. Because every other president after World War II, nobody dealt with it. So I'm not putting this on Biden. Warren Diodosio, Pueblo, Colorado. I understand that reciprocal tariffs. I do not understand why he's imposing baseline tariffs. Well, it's a price of admission to get your stuff to America. This is by far the most lucrative market in the world, and Donald Trump says you ought to pay to get into it. That's why. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad. We got to bring down the debt, that's for sure, and that's one way to do it. Alex Olveri, Italy. Dr. Bill, we live abroad and we are on disability. We voted for Trump. The dollar has dropped about 11 cents. Trump was mainly elected for the economy, but Americans living abroad are getting worried. What can I tell you? I would buy everything on credit card because, the dollar goes up and down on a daily basis, but it's rough everywhere. John Glock, Las Vegas. Trump keeps saying short-term pain, long-term gain, but this is agony. As a recent retiree, I'm afraid to be nothing left. That's panic. It's not there's too much cash on the sidelines, too powerful an economy to see a crash. So you don't panic. James Principe, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. The tariffs are not just designed to bring back jobs to the middle class. It's a national security issue whereby the USA needs to manufacture essential goods so we're not beholden to foreign power. There's some of that, particularly with China. Absolutely. Taiwan. Yeah, absolutely some national security stuff. But Donald Trump, the president, has got to articulate that. Got to tell us. Gary, I think Trump is trying to solve too many problems at the same time. That is an effective argument. Too much, too soon, too fast, unintended consequences, all that. Scott Malone, Ellsworth, Maine. I've been reading your books nonstop, O'Reilly. Read Confronting the Presidents, Killing the Witches, Killing England, currently reading Killing Lincoln. I agree with you on the public not having any idea why we pay tariffs, and they should know. We're here to educate everyone. Scott, I appreciate you reading my books, talking about an education, right? Learning a lot. All right, let's go to our, remember Mother's Day and Father's Day coming on up. We're going to have the Not Woke Mom and Dad mugs coming in. You want them, order them. We got the Not Woke gear across the board. We got the golf shirts, we got the polos, we got the hats, we got the mugs, we got the bumper stickers. We are not woke, okay? And word of the day, no temerity. Temerity. No temerity. Write to me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. Name and town. A lot of people forget names and towns if you wish to opine. All right, back with a final thought on tariffs. Bill O'Reilly here, emphasizing the importance of a safer alternative in threatening situations. Before using lethal force, consider the Byrna less lethal pistol launcher, a device designed to incapacitate an attacker with tear gas and kinetic ammunition for up to 40 minutes. It minimizes legal risks and permanent harm. We hear from a Byrna user, Adam, who faced a road rage driver. Armed with his Byrna launcher, Adam de-escalated the threat by aiming the laser at the aggressor. That allowed him to wait safely for police intervention. That night, Byrna not only prevented a potential tragedy, but also saved potential lives, all without physical harm. Byrna, legal across all 50 states with no background checks required, has sold more than 500,000 units. Please go to Byrna.com/Bill, save 10%, and learn so many Americans why they choose Byrna. That's Byrna.com/Bill to save 10%. There is a lot of talk about government debt, but the real crisis is personal debt. You need Done with Debt. They have unique strategies to help end your debt fast, so you can keep more of your hard-earned money. And they will not try to sell you a loan. They're tough negotiators. Will go one-on-one with your credit card and loan companies to drastically reduce bills, eliminate interest, erase penalties. Clients end up with more money in their pocket on month one, and they don't stop until you're debt-free. Take a few minutes. Visit donewithdebt.com. It's free, but listen, some solutions are time sensitive, so you have to move quickly. Go to donewithdebt.com. Donewithdebt.com. Tell them Bill sent you. Here is the final thought of the day. It is natural for you, for me, for everybody who invests to be worried. That is a natural thing. But like everything else in life, you have to discipline yourself in the worry area. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing other than consume information and know what is happening day to day. And that's why we're here, as I explained. But you're not going to change Donald Trump. He's in for 3 years and 3 3/4 years. I think we should be praying for our country. Holy Week's coming up. I'm going to pray for our country. But it's natural that you're feeling a little uneasy. I am. I don't like to see my portfolio decline. I work hard for my money. I bet you did too. I don't want it to disappear, particularly if some of these errors are being made when they don't have to be made. But there's nothing we can do. So accept the worry, discipline yourself, look for diversions. I'm watching a lot of sports. gets my mind off it. I'm reading a bunch of books. Okay, I'll tell you about them. I want to read the book before I recommend it. Sometimes the book isn't that great, so I'm not going to recommend it if it's not great. But I'm diverting my attention away. I'm not walking around all day thinking about tariffs. Don't do that. That'll hurt you physically and mentally. All right? So, natural for you to be worried. Discipline yourself in that area. I'm optimistic. If I thought if the whole thing was going to go over the side, I would tell you. I'd tell you like that. But I'm still maintaining some optimism here. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin Noon all this week. We're on it. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.